Methods for obtaining feedback: meetings, surveys, comments, and online tools. Feedback plays an important role in any ongoing improvement plan related to goods, service, and projects. Through obtaining feedback, the performance of a system can be reflected upon at an individual, workplace, or industrial level in hopes of improving established processes, quality of outputs, customer satisfaction, and worker confidence. So, essentially, what we're going to look at today is a variety of ways we can obtain feedback and obviously reflect upon it in hopes of improving our product or practice. So, to start off, we'll firstly look at that of meetings and discussions, which are strategies that involve people having conversations about their experience with a product or service. These meetings may be in the form of one on one interviews or involve groups of people coming together in order to share ideas about their experiences. Having an agenda and the use of questioning techniques is key here in order to obtain a meaningful feedback data from workers and clients. And obviously, we want to target specific things in relation to our service or product from these people we're talking to. So, a lot of preparation needs to take place. We're not just going in and just starting to think of ideas off the top of our head and questions off our head. It needs to be pre planned, mapped into an agenda, and obviously set questions for the group to go over in order to truly reflect, in order to obtain meaningful feedback. The next area is that of online forms and surveys. Okay, so this may be in the traditional sense of paper based surveys, which you hand out to people and they fill them in, but also things such as digital questionnaires, which are very popular these days, in order to obtain feedback from a range of individuals. This data can then be collated and then analyzed by organizations. Online forms have an advantage through being available over a network such as the internet, and this can allow them to obtain feedback uh, using the internet from people all over the world. Okay, and they can access the feedback form through their devices. So it could be their computer, could be accessing it through their mobile phone, and in order to get to it, they just have to click on a link that might have been sent in an email from the specific organization. So this gives a great scope with the audience who we want to obtain feedback from. The other advantage of digital online forms too is the tools you can use to assist, which can automatically validate, collate, and provide analysis data based on what was entered from users. And that's what we're going to look at on this next slide. Okay, specific tools that allow us to control the type of feedback we can get and then summarizes it pretty much for us in a meaningful way. So we'll jump over here and look at a variety of tools, and these can be embedded into online forms, as I just said, but also into apps and websites in order to quickly and easily obtain feedback from customers and clients, okay, who have used specific services or a product from an organization. So the first one, and you might be looking at this with one of my YouTube videos, is that of likes and dislikes, which is just a simple form of feedback on social media which publicly tallies whether users have had a positive or negative experience when interacting with a post or a specific type of media, such as a video. It assists the platform's algorithm then in recommending the media to other users. So if I make a YouTube video and it gets a lot of likes, based on what that YouTube video is about, the algorithm will then recommend it to other people who have been looking into the same type of topic that my video was about. So likes help out a lot. And obviously dislikes work in the opposite way. If the video is seen as poor, it's not going to recommend it. The algorithm is not going to forward it on to other users. It won't appear in their stream for them to view. So that's why you always hear the YouTubers saying, please like, share, and subscribe, because it does help the algorithm in spreading their video and obviously them achieving success with the media that they've created. The second area is that of ratings, and ratings traditionally were used for critics when they evaluated things such as movies. Okay, and obviously they'd give it a rating out of 5 stars, and if it was a good rating, people then would probably go see that movie if the critics said it was good. But now it's expanded into many different areas, okay, such as gaming, online shopping, and even service areas, such as when you go to book a motel, okay. There is a rating which is an accumulation of everyone who's used that service, and then you get kind of a final rating. So you might be on Amazon, you're thinking of buying a product, okay, you can see the rating that is reflected by everyone else who's bought that same product to letting you know the quality of that product and is it worth getting. By obtaining rating data, it allows for an aggregate rating to be established and presented when a user is deciding whether or not to access a specific service or product. Okay, so what we see on the user end when we're viewing it through a website is we see the aggregate rating. So we'll see 4.5 stars out of 5. Okay, and there's even a website such as imdb.com, which is an aggregate of people all reviewing movies. Okay, and those movies are rated out of 10. So all the billions of people in the world have been voting on movies, and we see a summary of everyone that's seen that movie, and it will say this movie is a 7.3 out of 10 based on everyone's rating data, and that lets you know whether or not you want to see that movie. Okay, so rating data been around for a very long time, usually out of 5 out of 10. The next area is that of emojis, which have become very popular. Now, obviously, emojis, we use them in our text messages, but now you also see them as you're leaving stores, okay? Because they're used in service areas and they're meant to highlight a customer's feelings in relation to how they felt after receiving a specific service. So I went to IKEA the other day, I went shopping there, and then as I was leaving the store after I went through the checkouts, there was a tablet set up, and although I've got 3 faces here, there was actually 5 emoji faces there, and it just said, click on the feelings, how you feel about your service here today. And all I had to do is just press one of them and bang, that feedback will be sent through. Obviously, this feedback too is also aggregated. Okay, and at the end of the day, they will reflect on this at IKEA and they will see, okay, most of our customers were very happy today. Or they'll see they're unhappy, they'll need to think of why. They'll need to reflect of what staff were on today. Who was the manager that day? Why were customers unhappy this day? What happened on this day that led to customers being unhappy? So it all starts just by getting that simple feedback data just related to emotions. Okay, and obviously that's what emojis relate to. They reflect emotions. So we're obtaining emotional data from customers in store in reflection of how they felt about the services they received on that day. The final area, and this one's not so much an aggregate one like these likes and ratings and emojis that I've just been talking about. The last one is that of comments. Okay, and comments can be used to allow individuals to provide open ended, constructive feedback in relation to their experiences. They can have their say, they can type a comment here and then submit it. Okay, and as we said, feedback is meant to be meaningful. So, whatever the customer says, it can be reflected upon and potentially implemented into practices of this service area in hopes of improving that. So the customer might highlight what they found good, what they found bad, what improvements they reckon could be made, who ticked them off that day when they went for the service area, what was wrong with the actual structure of the place they went to that led them having to an unpleasant experience. Okay, so comments obviously extremely beneficial because they have that open-ended constructive element that allow the customer to actually have their say. Okay, so I hope this has given you an understanding of these different online tools and how they can be used in different ways. And obviously, they're commonly used these days because, as said, they can be embedded into online forms, into apps, into websites, or just something that's sitting on a tablet there in order to obtain quick feedback from customers as they're on the go. Okay, and then basically that can be aggregated, put together, and already so much feedback's been obtained from customers in relation to the service that day that companies can reflect upon it and then obviously respond to it based on the feedback they've received.